Stay Sane with Jane, the show that helps you and your business to thrive, not just survive. Tune in each week as Jane connects with guests in the wellness, business and publishing worlds, bringing you the most up-to-date training, techniques, healing and guidance for growth, mindset and motivation. Each session includes a magical guided meditation led by Jane or one of her special guests. Here's your host, Jane Scanlon. Hello and welcome. My name is Jane and this is episode 5 of Stay Sane with Jane. My program is called Illuminate, helping female-led wellness businesses to connect, co-create and activate success into their businesses. And today I am having a wonderful conversation about fibroids, naturally becoming fertile and avoiding pain and surgery. So my special guest today is Valerie, who specializes in helping women to conquer fibroids naturally so they become fertile, end the pain and bleeding, heavy bleeding kind of cycles, and avoid surgery. And this comes from our own experience of suffering and failed surgeries, and has led to the creation of Woman Wise Health. Now, thank you so much for joining us. Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hello, Jane. Thank you very much for having me today. Yes, so my name's Valerie from Woman Wise Health. And as Jane was saying, I specialise in fibroids and all the associated symptoms that come with that. Now, the reason I got into it, I won't go into my complete backstory because it goes back many, many years. But it started really, all kicked off really in 2017. That was the real catalyst for it, to be honest. Even though I'd been suffering for years and years and years prior to that, because I always had heavy periods anyway, since the day my period started.
Wow.
But over the years, they just got worse and worse and worse and worse. And that was despite having 2 surgeries as well, because I was informed by the surgeon that having the biggest fibroids removed, they believe that those were the ones that were causing the most issues. So they said,
Yeah.
once those are gone, your heavy bleeding should be resolved. And of course, it didn't resolve the issue. So that was in 2011. So 6 years later, in 2017, if I get my maths right, yes, 2017, I got so severely anemic, I actually took myself to the doctors, and I get, I wanted a blood test because I knew I was anemic anyway, judging by all the symptoms I was having. So I took myself to the doctor. They gave me a blood test, and literally almost a couple of hours later, he got on the phone, said, "Get yourself to A&E." So that's what I did.
Wow.
So got myself to A&E. Next thing I know, I was admitted, and I was sitting there on a drip at the hospital, looking at all the doctors and nurses rushing around, wondering what the hell's happening, and taking more blood out of me that I couldn't really afford to give anyway.
Yeah.
And so as I sat there, admittedly feeling sorry for myself, I
Of
I thought,
course,
you know
but
what?
you would be. That's a pretty traumatic experience for a start, and
Yeah,
a long, long experience as well.
yeah, absolutely. Went on for so long. I think it got to the stage that I said, right, I've had enough. There's only so much prodding and poking and withdrawal of blood that I could actually take. So I thought, you know what, I need to conquer this. I need to do something about this, and then I need to do something quick because it was affecting my heart as well.
Oh,
Because as you
wow.
can imagine, as you can imagine, as you're losing blood, your heart has to work a lot harder in order to pump what little blood there is around the body,
Do you know what? I
you
had
see.
not even thought about that. But yeah, that's just really a logical thing. When working holistically with the body, like you do as well, within my kind of holistic therapies business, it's never just one area. And the dis-ease in the body, it comes from it's a whole body, a whole emotion thing, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's the key thing, is the emotions that were involved with that as well, because they in themselves can cause physical problems, which
Hmm.
then makes the symptoms you're getting worse. You
Yeah.
see, so that's where it started. So in 2017, that's where I started my journey. So I just laid into the research and I really dug deep, and I thought I need to find out what's happening. And during the process, this is where I found out that there were so many other women in the world suffering from this problem. Now, I knew there was anyway, but I didn't realize to the extent that it was going on. And so I just carried on. So initially, I just did this all for myself. You see, I did
Yeah.
Women Wise Health only started out of my need to share the information that I found out, because what I was seeing, what prompted it mainly is because there's so many women are going through a hysterectomy. Now, I'm not counting the ones who actually want that, because there are actually women who are suffering so much they just want their womb
Yes.
gone. But I'm talking about the ones who still want to have babies, or are
Hmm.
having another baby because they want to start a family. And all those women who they're scared of surgery. They just don't want surgery. They don't like the sound of surgery, because they don't know what's going to happen to them while they're under anesthetic, you
Hmm.
see. So that scares them as well, or some of them worry that they won't wake up. So there's those women who are looking for less invasive, more natural routes. Some may have to go surgery anyway, because their fibroids are just huge. It's ridiculous to start
Mm.
with. So, but yeah, that's where it all kicked off. And so Woman Wise Health was founded sort of at the bottom end of 2018, 2019, where I thought, I really need to share what I found out. So
That's
that's what I've done.
amazing. So that's a really what I found is by interviewing fellow business women in the health and wellness industry is that we all have started or grown our business through our own personal experiences, because all of the therapies that I trained in, I was a patient, a client first to somebody who did that therapy on me, whether it be EFT or homeopathy or whatever. And then I thought, wow, that was amazing. I feel so much better. I'm going to go and train in that. And that was my journey as well. Through our own almost pain and suffering, we are not just holding on to that healing for ourselves. We're going out and offering that healing, that service, that facilitation to other women, other men as well, you know? It's
Yeah,
amazing, isn't it?
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, that's the thing. That's the key. I think for me, it's always been there in the background, lurking for
Mhm.
many, many years anyway, prior to 2017. But the only reason I didn't move forward with it is because I hadn't sorted myself out. So I thought I can't very well go
Yeah.
helping other women if I haven't sorted myself out yet. So I think, you know how the universe has a wonderful way of kicking you when
Yep.
you're down and showing you the way anyway, because it's saying, right, if you want to do this, I'm going to make sure you do it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you hell until you do it. And I think that's what started me off it. So it came and said, right, okay, you've been wanting to do this for years, let's go do it now. So if that means you're going to have to suffer, so be it, because it's going to give you the kick in the, the rear that you need in order to go and start helping other women
Mhm.
conquer fibroids naturally as well.
So through this journey, because I know many, many, many women suffer with their monthly cycles, and through my own journey and through the things that I've learned in holistic medicine and therapies, um, is we really don't need to be suffering, but we're almost brought up, programmed to think that this that you are that a period is suffering, that you do have to shut up and put up type of thing, and that they are painful. Actually, they're not. And I had a few very experiences myself that after doing, say, a 10-day, 2 weeks detox, which had nothing to do with my periods. I just wanted to lose weight back then. And then all of a sudden, my next period, it didn't hurt. The flow was different. In fact, I didn't even know I was on my period. There was like zero pain, zero emotional change. And it was because I'd done a 2-week detox. I was like, wow, this is
Yeah.
really interesting. So what are the things that you found out through your journey that help hinder us as women?
Oh God, there's a whole list.
Yeah.
Um, like you said, yes, you did a 2-week one, but for some women, detox. And I, as a detox specialist, I am a big advocate of detoxing. But for some women, that wouldn't be enough. You
Yeah,
see,
my
so what
symptoms were
I
only mild. So, yeah, let's get that across to the audience.
yes,
My symptoms were only mild, and I did
yeah,
a 2-week cleanse, and then boom, it was gone. I didn't back then, I didn't fully change my life and stay cleansed and detoxed. So the
yeah,
pain, the PMT did eventually come back, but when I did another cleanse, boom, gone again. So yeah, my symptoms were very mild compared to other people.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so with many women, they literally do something similar to what you're doing. Maybe they would go on a detox, maybe they change their diet. Many women change their diet to becoming vegan or vegetarian. They just cut out meat. And they do various things in order to help themselves. So there are lots of women out there who are doing their utmost to relieve themselves from this problem, because they're just so fed up, some of them, with their gynecologists and being just told to take this pill or have a
Mm,
hysterectomy because they need one, because we're always told they need one, which is just probably the worst way to deal with fibroids and heavy bleeding. So many women, they get out there and they start on this journey to say, right, okay, and they might join groups as well, which is not a bad thing, because they want the
mhm,
support, because they do feel alone. Now, one thing it is, it can be a very lonely journey. So they join groups, they ask for advice, and next thing they're overwhelmed with all this information. And they're like, "Whoa, what am I supposed to do? Where am I supposed to start?" Because you've got each woman going, right, do this, do this,
do
do
that.
this.
Yes.
Yeah. And so what tends to happen is that they get so overwhelmed with information, they have no idea where to start. And
I
even if
can
they do
understand that.
start, they go off and look at specific information somewhere on the internet, where whichever research they're looking at, I don't know where they're looking, and they think, right, okay, green tea extract, for example, has been tested on rats or mice. Not to mention, you and I don't look like rats or mice. Let's get that out there for the
No.
start. So
Let's
their
stop testing
anatomy,
on animals, please. Yes.
exactly. And the thing is, you can't compare your body as a woman, fully grown woman, to that of a rat or a mice or any other animal. So
Mm,
what happens with that animal? It's under very strict controlled conditions and they're expecting a certain outcome. With so many nuances and variances within the human body, you can't do that.
yeah.
You see, so you've got some women who take an extract like green tea or whatever supplement and they have great success. But then on the other hand, you've got about 100 or about 1,000 other women who are doing the same thing and they're not having the success.
Yes.
Some have changed to a vegan diet and have, great success. Like you, the bleeding has calmed right down and they're feeling so much better. Whereas others, they're on a vegan diet for years, they're doing all this, doing all that, doing the breathing, doing the chanting, exercising, they're doing everything right, but it's still not working.
Hmm.
So for women who are in a chronic state like that, this is where they end up taking the surgery route because they can't take anymore. The issue with There is no issue with what they're doing because everything they're doing is right. It's just that they're not looking at other angles. There may be other things that are going on because in my research I've come across a doctor, I think a German doctor, and I think he is, or Austrian, who now lives in America.
Hmm.
And he says there's 5 levels of healing. The first one is the physical one. Then you've
Yeah.
got the energy body, the mental body, the emotional body, then you've got the spiritual body. Most
Yes.
people start at the physical body
Yeah.
and then stay there. Whereas, in fact, if their issues or some of their emotional trauma was caused at level 3, that's where they have to go to heal it. But if they're on level 1, for example, you're not
Hmm.
you're not going to be able to heal that until you move through all those channels, all those 5 channels. Does
Yeah.
If that's making sense? Because
It makes total sense, and that's
yeah,
part of my journey as well. I think we all start with the physical healing first because we're in a very materialistic world. So we want to look good and it's all about the physical body. But I didn't stop there. I was like, okay, now internal energy, emotions, let's work through, all of this. But yeah, that makes absolute sense.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's the thing. You have to work through all the that what people would probably call woo-woo stuff, but it isn't woo-woo because it actually is part of us.
Yeah.
It's the issue is, Jane, is that we've lost so much of our connection with the actual world because whether people believe it or not, we are part of nature and nature is
Yeah.
part of us. And I know probably more recently people are looking to connect more with nature. They're looking to move out of cities and whether they want to go into the countryside or just be in the more natural environment.
Yeah.
And that all helps. That really does help with the healing process because what has happened with um, the medical industry is that they've pretty much reduced us to a machine that
Yeah.
once it goes wrong, we can have parts removed and, right, okay, we'll just take that bit out and okay, you're fixed now. Okay,
Yeah.
off you go, next one.
And have some
It
of these
rarely
pills.
works like that. Yeah, exactly. Or yeah, pop a pill for an ill, and you'll be right as rain. But unfortunately, for many women with reproductive health disorders, that rarely works.
Mm.
Or all it does is quash or suppress the issue. It's not actually dealing with it at the root. Now,
No,
some
and
women,
generally it ends up with what I've found through, working with my own clients is it ends up with another pill to try and stop the side effects of the first pill.
absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's how it goes because if anyone goes to a doctor, say if you go to your doctor and you say, okay, could you tell me what is actually causing it? They won't be able to answer that question. Or if they do, i.e., for instance, with fibroids, if a woman goes to a doctor's and she says, well, what's causing it? He won't know. But if these say the same with the heavy bleeding, they'll say, oh, it's caused by fibroids. Do you see what I mean? They all
Yeah.
cause that. They all say one symptom is caused by another symptom, where in actual both symptoms are the result of something else that's going on, something that's much deeper, that hasn't been resolved. Which is why when somebody is trying to resolve their problems by themselves without first understanding what the root cause is,
Hmm.
they're not going to win. They're not going to be able to resolve their issues because they haven't completely understood what's going on with their bodies. And this is another issue, is that so many women do not even know how their bodies operate. They really don't. We're walking around in bodies that we don't really understand.
And a lot
So when it,
aren't connected or don't love their bodies, and I'm seeing
yeah,
this, I'm hearing this in a lot of young children now, which is so sad. And it is to do with what they're watching, what they're
yeah,
seeing online. Any screen, whether it's TV or YouTube or whatever, if you go and look at especially the females that are portrayed in cartoons and this and that, they do not look like normal children. They are mini sexy adult females. They are not children, and it is very much the portrayal of women that I think is completely distorted. Less so on the
oh,
male front, but it is still there. They're all, popping with muscles when they become superheroes.
yeah,
But the female portrayal is absolutely disgraceful. Yeah.
yeah, I know. I don't know if there was actually digress for a second.
Mm.
There was an actual program. They had a series of programs where you had all these young children. They were going into some kind of competition, and they're all in makeup. Or that I didn't watch it because I didn't
Yeah.
want to watch something like that. Anyway,
Yeah.
I digress. But yes, go what you said in terms of the impact this is having on women. You, the body image, the emotional impact as well. There's an impact in intimacy as well. People don't realize that, because
Mm.
you don't really feel glamorous, you don't feel sexy. Women with fibroids actually feel unattractive because some of them look like they're pregnant, and so that makes them self-conscious about their stomachs, because the one question women with fibroids don't want to be asked is, are you pregnant? They just
Mm.
don't want to be asked that. It's so embarrassing. Not to mention that most women, they feel sad, they're angry, they're frustrated, and they're depressed. There's a lot of emotions going on there.
Yeah.
And actually,
Living
but
with
there was a
chronic
survey
pain
about
in
that.
itself is just, horrendous, isn't it? Let alone the bleeding, the kind of emotional trauma behind it all. It's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot to contend with, and so when a woman goes to their doctor expecting help and then they get dismissed because so many women are frustrated that they're not getting the help that they need from their doctors. So what do? They turn to Dr. Google, you know,
Mhm.
or they ask friends and family who may not necessarily be qualified to help them. Or again, what I said earlier, they may go into a group somewhere on some social network site and ask them, what are you doing? Because this is something I see a lot as well. Is a woman, she goes, right, I've just been diagnosed with fibroids. I don't want surgery. I want to deal with it naturally. Can you help me? And again, she'll go all gung ho, gets all this information, and then get stuck
Yeah.
because it's like, well, okay, I'm not quite sure where to start, but I'll start somewhere anyway. So they'll buy something, post it, and say, right, has anybody taken this? Does it work? Or
Yeah.
so
Immediately
they're
giving a
buying things without really understanding if it works or not.
yeah, and immediately giving away their power and asking for everybody else's opinions, not their gut instinct as well.
Yeah, and that's key. I'm glad you hit that point because they're not going their intuition. I don't know whether it's because we're so reliant on external resources. We've got the doctors, every time something's wrong we run to the doctor rather than relying on ourselves and our intuition, which is something that you need to develop over a period of time. That means trusting your own body,
And
you
as a
see.
child, encouraging the children to trust their instincts, because what are we told a lot of the time when we're children? "I'm the adult, go and do that." You know, they're squashed down, aren't they,
Yeah,
of their own
yeah.
opinions.
That's right. That's right. So, yeah, like you said, it's so true. You need to trust your gut, and that starts with trusting your body. If you
Mm,
don't trust your body, again, like you've already said, you will give your power away to somebody who hasn't necessarily got a vested interest in your health and well-being.
yeah.
Because at the end of the day, they've only got what in the NHS? How long is a doctor's appointment? 10 minutes?
Ooh, 10 minutes, if that, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas
Most of the time,
if you
yeah,
pay
yeah,
to I'm
maybe
not
half an
saying
hour.
private, like doctor, if you pay to see, I don't know, a naturopath or homeopath or whatever, you get an hour or more, don't you,
Absolutely.
of
Yeah.
real grounded time finding out about you. What you can't say much in 10 minutes, can you?
No, exactly. All they can do, which is great. I always say to my clients, if they haven't already got a diagnosis, if there's something else going on in addition to the fibroids, go back, get a blood test, do all the things that you would
Yeah.
do, and get a proper diagnosis. So when you come back to me, then we can actually start looking at the root causes because at least we know what we're dealing with, but we don't want to be just hitting the symptoms because I know some women, they go in and it's like they go in there with their tank, their battle armor, and start throwing all this stuff at the fibroids when they're attacking the symptom, but it's the fibroids aren't the problem, you see. It's what's causing those fibroids to grow. You've got to look at the cellular level if you want to come down a little bit more. Right, what's
Mhm.
going on in the cells? What's making those cells proliferate, i.e., what's making those cells grow abnormally? That's
Yes.
what we need to look at. And then
Yeah.
once we find out what that is, that's when you can start dealing with it properly. So yes, breaking down fibroids, it's not an overnight job.
Mm.
And this is one thing I always come across is women who want that magic pill. Now, if there was a
I was just
magic pill
about
with
to say that.
diets, yeah, the
Yeah.
magic pill. Now, if there was one for weight loss, everybody would be taking it because they come out with these things like the magic pill because that's what people want. They want to drop weight in, I don't know, 2 minutes or something like that with
Mhm.
no exercise and not having to do
Yeah,
anything
and to
with it.
continue eating the crap food.
Yes, it's a bit like starting a business, isn't it? If it was easy, everybody would be doing it.
Yeah, if we made money instantly, we become millionaires instantly, we'd all be at it,
Yeah,
wouldn't we?
yeah, exactly. But with anything, whether it's health, whether it's wealth, no matter what you're looking at, it takes work. And I'm always very upfront and very clear about that. It's not, I may have a 60-day program, but that's just the foundation, just to give you the basics,
Yes.
it. But believe me, if you want to do this naturally, you've got to get real. The bigger
Yeah.
the fibroids, if they're say some people have got fibroids 12, 13 and upwards, centimeters. Some
Yeah.
have about 18 or 20 or something like that. Be
Mm.
realistic, have surgery, have them out. Let's
Mhm.
get real. Just make sure that the doctor doesn't take your womb. But
Mhm.
if there's anything smaller than that, say anything up to 10, that's still quite big. You
Yeah.
see, because when I was looking back at mine, I had a total of 12 removed through 2 surgeries,
Wow.
and they were around about 8 to 9 centimeters.
Yeah.
So, and I did look pregnant. I was 24 weeks and I still got the report saying that.
Mm.
That's how big my belly was. So I'm thinking, if you're going to do something like that and you've got multiple fibroids, especially for women of African descent as well, we tend to suffer worse with our symptoms
Okay.
tenfold. So if you've got multiple fibroids, expect this to be a lifelong journey.
Mhm.
If they don't want to hear that, that's fine. And you want to hunt for a quick fix, good luck. That's all I'm going to say, because I'm very upfront. I'm very honest about that.
Yeah, that's good.
You cannot fix a chronic issue or any kind of chronic issue that's been going on, that's developed over a period of time, by just taking a few things without looking at the whole body and how it's functioning. You
Yeah.
see, you
It's a
can't
bit
do that and
like
you expect to heal yourself.
e exactly. It's a bit like, IBS. So I used to suffer with IBS, but I changed my diet. I don't suffer with IBS anymore. However, if I decided to go back to my old lifestyle, my old diet, my old partying every weekend, drinking, I would get IBS again. Because it wasn't my body that was the problem. My body couldn't cope with my lifestyle and the kind of foods I was putting in it. Um, so it is, like you say, it is once you kind of hit the nail on the head, and that's a lifelong change to make, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, that's the thing. And like you say, women, well, not just women actually, people in general, if you look, anybody with any kind of health condition, whether it's diabetes or fibroids or heart disease or something like that, s- especially when I've helped lots of people in the past, because I used to work in a health store. So people with these kind of conditions used to come into
Yeah.
the store all the time,
Yeah.
and they said, "Right, I've just been diagnosed with whatever XYZ." Diabetes was a big thing around the area I was working, so I'll take that for instance. They'll come in, and I've been just diagnosed with diabetes. It was mainly the men, and the doctors prescribed me something, but I don't want to take those. Do you have anything instead? So they go from a pharmaceutical
Yes.
pill to a natural pill, but they're still not dealing with the root
Yeah.
cause. With diabetes, that's probably one of the easiest problems to fix. Type 2,
Type
not
2, that's what I
necessarily
was gonna
type 1.
say. It's so it can be so easy to fix.
Yeah,
Same with cholesterol, be so
yeah.
easy. But guess what's easier? Popping a pill.
Yeah,
You don't have to change your
exactly.
life that much, do you? You just have to, that we are inherently lazy humans. We're absolutely bloody amazing. We can do so much, but if there's a quicker, easier way, we do tend to go for that first, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely. Believe me, I've tried, Jane. It doesn't work. I've been there. I've tried it.
Yeah, I tried many of the easy options, and actually, it always
Yeah,
comes down to that. Sorry, Jane, you've got to change your life, your whole lifestyle. Ah, okay then.
yeah,
But
exactly,
I'm
exactly.
determined to live a healthy, fun, vibrant life, and I'm determined. I've got three grandparents that made it to like 97, 96, 101. So I'm going to be living a very long life. I'm not even halfway there yet. So
Yeah,
I want to be healthy. I want to be really healthy at the end.
exactly. And that's the key. It's longevity, it's healthy aging. I actually attended a conference yesterday
Yeah.
about healthy aging, to be honest. And that's the key. It's longevity, it's living your best life into your senior years and not having the old, creaks, aches and pains. Now, I've got creaks, aches and pains because I used to be what do you call it? I used to lift weights a lot. I used to, once upon
Yeah.
a time, I used to enter weightlifting competitions, and so I used to train, and I used to train hard.
Hmm.
People would call me one of the boys because I would train like a man, so to
Yeah.
speak. Even though I didn't have the anatomy of a man, I couldn't do what a man could, but yet still I trained like
You
one,
had the
and that
mindset
did a
of
lot of
a
damage.
weightlifter. Mhm.
What was that?
I said you had the mind of a weightlifter.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly. But it didn't bode well for me. So of course, through the years and through the healing I've done, that's that is what's enabled me to come more into my feminine power, so to
Hmm.
speak. So, and I think that's important too, is with the risk of sounding, like I'm anti something, is for women to try to be who they are rather than try to be something they're not, if that makes
Hmm.
sense. Because I think it all comes with trying to have this competition with other people rather than looking at it, right, what can I do? What's unique about me? You see, and I know that sounds like it's going off topic, but it isn't, because it all comes back round again when you think it's all part and parcel of the healing process.
Yeah.
So it
That
may
trust
go,
within the self
so
and
yeah,
intuition.
so
Yeah.
yeah, so we're looking actually much deeper than fibroids, even though we start with the physical stuff,
Yeah.
and that's key.
So we're coming towards the end of our interview, and I've got 3 questions that I really still
Hmm.
want to ask you. So if we work together, what would it look like?
Right, so I've got a new program out. It's something I've been working on for some time now, and I call it the Empowered Warrior Woman Transformation Program. It's 60 days, and it's about releasing the goddess within. So it's more than just a fibroid elimination, terminating, fibroid busting program. Essentially what I'm doing is I'm taking women who are struggling with fibroids, heavy bleeding, frequent urination, and all those lovely things that comes with having fibroids, to stop them trawling through the internet for answers, trying to looking at things that may not be right for them, and to maneuvering their way through what feels like a never-ending battle with fibroids, to rediscovering who they are mentally, emotionally, and physically. With physically probably being the most important thing.
Mhm.
So, essentially, that the Empowered Warrior Woman program has everything a woman needs to get going on the road to recovery. So it like I said before, it's the foundation, because you can't get rid of fibroids in 60 days, right?
Yeah.
So in the first month, what's going to happen is that we're going to work through the emotional aspects of healing, because of course there's a lot of emotional connection, as we've just discussed, to that. And because hidden trauma affects us physically. So, and this is what women tend to miss out on. And so, and then the latter half of the program, the next 30 days. So that's 30 days. And then the next 30 days that's where we go into the physical stuff. So we're going to look at everything. We're going to look at the body systems and what that
Hmm.
involves. This is where we get nitty gritty. We get into the root cause of things. Essentially what it is, it's a roadmap. So do you know, if like you're traveling in your car, for instance,
Yeah,
and you need to know where you're going, you put on your GPS, you get out your phone, you put on Google Maps, you put in the directions, and then that's going to tell you where to go. That is exactly what this program is all about. It's a transformational program that's going to give you the roadmap, your healing blueprint, so to speak, to so you can get on the right road and stay on it for healing. So
that
that's
sounds
what
amazing.
the program is.
That sounds amazing. So obviously, we're going to put all of your details with this recording, so people will be able to get hold of you. So, what if you have an offer for our audience, or the best way of getting hold of you to get on this 60-day paid program? Then could you let them know now, please?
Yeah, sure. So I offer a free consultation. It's, that to go through what she's going through. She can talk to me. There's absolutely no obligation. All we want to do is find out what's happening and if I can help. And if I can, I will show her a way to do that. So all we
Fantastic.
need to do is get on a call, find out what's going on with you, and then find out, most importantly, if you're ready to move forward with actually doing things naturally.
Fabulous. Thank you so much, Valerie. This has been an amazing show, very insightful, and I feel like we've covered so many different angles.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I love talking about this subject. It is my passion, and, helping. And I thank you so much for helping me spread the word.
Definitely, definitely. I'm really, really, really happy and psyched for this episode because I know it's going to help a lot of people take a step back and take a look at the holistic, natural approach to life. Okay, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. We're just going to go to a little break. Stay sane with Jane, the show that helps you and your business to thrive, not just survive. Tune in each week as Jane connects with guests in the wellness, business, and publishing worlds, bringing you the most up-to-date training, techniques, healing, and guidance for growth, mindset, and motivation. Each session. Hello. Thank you so much for joining us today at Stay Sane with Jane. We are going to go into the next portion of the show, which is the Dictations. So, I have created a beautiful meditation that's coming up. And I also wanted to just shine a little light. Let me remove my Say goodbye from me, Jane, and the show Stay Sane with Jane. It's been a pleasure to take you through the interview and the Dictations. All of the details to connect with myself and with my guest, Valerie, are going to be connected to this. So you can search for me, Jane Scanlon, and the Harmony Business Academy, or my therapies business, which is Cherish, Transform, Upgrade. And you can search for Valerie, Womb, Man, Wise, Health. It's been a pleasure to spend an hour with you today. I'll see you on the next show. Stay Sane with Jane, the show that helps you and your business to thrive, not just survive. Tune in each week as Jane connects with guests in the wellness, business and publishing worlds, bringing you the most up-to-date training, techniques, healing and guidance for growth, mindset and motivation. Each session includes a magical guided meditation led by Jane or one of her special guests. Here's your host, Jane Scanlon.